On the night of October 29th, one of China's most massive banking systems, the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, crashed hard. We're not talking a quick glitch or a transfer that got stuck in limbo. No, when hundreds of millions of users cracked open their app, there it was, account balances flashing zero. Paychecks vanished, wealth management funds disappeared, even gold holdings seemed to evaporate right before their eyes. Some folks figured they'd been hacked, others dashed out to ATMs in the dead of night just to double-check, and a few were straight up crying as they snapped screenshots for evidence. WeChat moments, Weibo, little red note, they all blew up. Deposits? Gone. But those credit card debts? Still hanging around, bold as brass. In that instant, it dawned on everyone, like a cold splash of reality. In this day and age, the bank can legally wipe out your money without a second thought, but you? You try stiffing them on what you owe, and good luck with that. From Beijing to Shenzhen, from Heilongjiang to Yunnan, countless netizens were posting desperate pleas. What do you do when your account goes to zero? Some discovered their balances had reset to nothing. Others watched their investment products vanish into the ether. That night, ICBC's customer service hotline got absolutely slammed, with reps robotically repeating the same line over and over. It's a system display glitch, your funds are safe, please check again later. No announcement, no heads up, no explanation whatsoever. And just like that, the nation's biggest state-owned banking behemoth stayed silent for a full 10 hours. It wasn't until the morning of October 30th, with the media hounding them, that ICBC's customer service finally piped up. App port data delay, user funds unaffected in reality. One breezy little word, delay. And they figured that'd smooth over the panic for hundreds of millions. Sure, the data came back online, but the trust, that didn't make a comeback. This isn't the first rodeo. Back in 2023, the Bank of China's system tanked, paralyzing counters across multiple cities nationwide. In 2024, the Agricultural Bank of China's app crumbled, leaving tens of millions locked out. And ICBC itself? In the past year alone, at least 3 major breakdowns, failed transfers, login freezes, blank screens. Their go-to excuse is always the same single line: system issues. But no one ever spells out what that really means behind the curtain. Is it a tech flaw, outsourcing headaches, or pinching pennies on costs? Nobody knows. Because to the average person, the financial system is this big black box. You see the numbers dancing on your screen, but the truth lurking underneath? That's locked away tight. The Industrial and Commercial Bank of China boasts assets topping 43 trillion yuan, with over 700 million customers. In their annual report, they brag about pumping 28.5 billion yuan into financial tech and employing 36,000 tech whizzes, positioning themselves as one of the world's safest, steadiest banks. But now, this rock-solid institution can't even keep an app's data in sync, letting user accounts wipe clean overnight. This wasn't some minor tech hiccup. It's a gut punch to faith in the whole financial setup. One furious netizen put it bluntly: ICBC rakes in billions every year, yet they can't get a basic app right. What are they spending the cash on? Fancy PowerPoint decks. In an era where we're all hooked on digital systems, financial trust isn't built on vaults and safes anymore. It's riding on a few lines of code. When that code trips up, money evaporates and hearts hit the floor. And the scarier part? This isn't some one-off fluke. Just over a month ago, a woman in Xiamen, Fujian, filmed a video claiming her 1 million yuan deposit at ICBC had vanished, with statements tampered. In Nanyang, Henan, a guy successfully transferred money only to have the bank block his withdrawal, citing the need for further verification. In Xingtai, Hebei, a woman tried pulling 25,000 yuan in cash for her hospitalized husband and got grilled for details on his ward and department. She just sighed in frustration. Scammers run free, but us regular folks, we get treated like the crooks just for touching our own money. This isn't comedy, it's the surreal reality creeping in. Under the banner of risk prevention, banks have layered up defenses against everyday depositors like fortresses. But when the system itself glitches, crickets on accountability, the saver ends up under the microscope, while the faulty tech skates free. Folks say trust in banks is baked into the Chinese soul. Back from the 1980s, stashing cash in a bank was the gold standard of safety, a national no-brainer. Tellers back then felt like reps of the state itself, and those passbooks? They were your ticket to peace of mind. But today's banks? They're cold algorithms, with back-end systems flagging your account as suspicious on a whim, machine learning models gatekeeping whether you can access your own dough. And AI chatbots? They just drone on. Please try again later. This ICBC zero-balance fiasco is just the tip of the iceberg. The real storm brewing is China's entire banking world sliding into an age of high spending, low security, and zero trust. Fresh data from the central bank shows that by the first half of 2025, total financial tech investments across Chinese banks have smashed past 370 billion yuan, up 12% year over year. But in the same stretch, nationwide systemic tech failures in banks jumped 46% from last year. In other words, they're pouring in more cash than ever, yet the systems are shakier by the day. That's the absurd twist we're living. Banks are modernizing on paper, but when it comes to how users actually feel, it's like stepping back to the Stone Age. On the surface, this digital transformation push is all fireworks. Cloud computing, big data, AI, blockchain, each one sounding fancier than the last. But dig into the guts of it, and it's riddled with holes. Insiders spill that app development and upkeep get farmed out wholesale to third-party firms. Some projects stitched together by patchwork teams of outsourcers, front-end and back-end handshakes held together with duct tape and prayers.
When an upgrade, data shift, or server sync goes sideways, no one's truly on the hook. One fintech pro laid it out in an interview. Crashes, like ICBC's app mess, probably born from a botched version testing pipeline.
The rub is, in the rigid hierarchy of state banks, nobody's lining up to take the fall for a digital screw-up. Every meltdown kicks off a game of hot potato. Tech blames ops points to the outsourcers, and it all seals with a stamp. System fault. No follow-through, no payouts. But for the everyday person, is your money really just collateral damage from a system reason? Back in the day, the big Chinese worry was never having enough money. Now, folks are starting to sweat that even what's in the bank might not be safe. China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission stats show 356,000 complaints over bank account disputes in 2024 alone, up 27% from the year before. Top 5 gripes? System glitches, frozen funds, delayed arrivals, all front and center. Banks are clamping down harder on customers. Videos for withdrawals, manual reviews for transfers, valid reasons demanded for big cash pulls. Meanwhile, safeguards for the systems themselves? Barely a whisper. When the scales of financial security tip this far, it's always the little guy who gets crushed first. That Xiamen woman with the missing deposit? She's still grinding through the complaint maze. The Henan man denied his withdrawal. He had to cough up extra proof before they let him touch his cash. A Tsinghua University FinTech Institute report lays it out. Over the past 3 years, China's major banks faced 62 app crashes or severe outages, hitting all 6 big state players from CCB to ABC to PSBC. 57% struck at night or on holidays, mostly post-maintenance or updates. Hard numbers on economic hits are fuzzy, but the scar on user trust? That's deep and sticks around. One jaw-dropper from the report. A provincial rural commercial bank, after a system migration, left 42,000 accounts with mismatched balances, fixed via back-end tweaks. Think about that in this so-called digital banking era. The numbers we stare at aren't gospel truth. They're just a snapshot from some server, fragile as fog. One lag, one network blip, one bad API call, and your money could ghost you for hours or days. China's banking setup is the poster child for state-owned giants. Layers on layers of bureaucracy, tangled workflows, endless approvals. Even a tiny bug has to snake through a dozen memos to get patched. Not just a tech snag, but a structural straitjacket. In all those chains of command, nobody's truly accountable for your everyday savings. A lot of people chalk this up to a harmless app display quirk, but in finance circles, they know better. It's a flashing red warning. When the core architecture syncs wrong, it screams potential cracks in data integrity, rippling out to delayed settlements, ledger mismatches, even botched interbank reconciliations. Layer on the debt strains weighing down China's banks right now, and the fallout could be catastrophic. By mid-2025, total liabilities across Chinese banks have surged past 350 trillion yuan, up 8.1% year over year, with bad loan ratios climbing to 1.65%. Local government financing vehicles keep leaking risks, and regulators note small banks' capital buffers sliding for 5 quarters straight. Against that backdrop, any tech tumble can spark a full trust implosion. Sure, ICBC's app looks fine on the surface now, but the back-end data jitters and the public's jangled nerves? Those haven't faded. The people who glimpsed zero balances in the witching hour, they might never hand over blind faith to a bank again. They'll screenshot everything, pore over statements, eye the system with suspicion. They won't trust the digits anymore because too much uncertainty lurks in the shadows behind them. Some call it a mix-up, but most get it. This was a trust avalanche. When a cosmic bank with 43 trillion in assets can flash a zero out on the screen, folks start poking holes in the whole financial fortress. That's the true terror. Not the money vanishing, but the trust evaporating. For decades, Chinese folks built their security on one simple creed: money in the bank is safest. But now, from Evergrande's thunderclap to rural bank blasts to state system seizures, that fortress of faith is crumbling, bit by bit. The moment those balances hit zero, it wasn't just numbers resetting. It was a whole generation's sense of safety dialing back to nothing. Thanks for watching and joining us on this journey to unveil China's many layers. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others, and hit that subscribe button to stay updated. See you in the next video.